Alright, so I've watched this Joshua versus Dubois fight a couple of times back now, and currently what I'm doing now is I'm working on a film study of this fight, taking key points, key mistakes by both men in the fight, and just giving my 2 cents on it, and kind of basically how potentially Joshua, more so because he made a hell of a lot more mistakes than Dubois, can potentially rectify these mistakes. And whilst doing that today, I came across a BBC snippet. They basically took a bit of the commentary. You had, what is his name? He used to do the World Boxing Super Series, and he did it for ITV. I cannot remember his name, but you know who I'm talking about. He was commentating. That's going to annoy me now. Someone's going to leave it in the comment section who the main commentator was. But they had Shane McGuigan also on commentary. Now I'm going to play you a little snippet of what was said. So basically, I never noticed this because whenever I'm watching a fight back, I tend to skip through the minutes rest, because for me, if I'm really watching a fight back, I'm really just focused on the action. The minutes rest is kind of, unless there's a replay of a knockdown, I'm just kind of like, skip. Do you know that sort of way? So I listened to this, and the advice Ben Davison gave, wow. I mean, wow. That's all I can say. Before I play this, when Ben Davison joined Anthony Joshua's team, there was some speculation, and I think I even did a video on it, where people wondered, was Ben Davison a kind of double agent, relaying information back to Tyson Fury? And personally, I don't feel that was ever the case, but having listened to the advice he gave Joshua between rounds 4 and 5, I don't believe it, but I mean, have a listen.
And now, Anthony Joshua guiding Daniel Dubois back to his red corner while he makes the long walk across the ring to the blue corner. Let's listen in to Ben Davison giving instructions to Anthony Joshua.
That's what it's about. We get through this. Warrior spirit. 100%. But we got to be smart.
Yeah, I am.
We rush stepping in with the jab almost every time unless you're galloping around. Snip and bring it up. Yeah?
If there's a bit of a lull, in behind that double jab, bring it up, roll the dice, he'll double now the right hand, lift it, yeah?
Roll the dice.
Roll that dice, innit?
Double in his eyes, bring it
I
up.
think that's dangerous advice there, to be honest. I mean, getting him to bring it up off the double jab. Daniel throws that right hand straight off that double jab. And by bringing it up, he means an uppercut. He's going to walk himself straight onto his short right hand. If you ask me, I'd just say keep your hands up tight, get through these next 2 rounds, and then use your athleticism late down the stretch.
Bring an uppercut up off the double jab when Daniel Dubois is throwing a straight right hand and your hands are down low. Honestly, when I heard that, I was like, are you actually for reals in me here? Really? And Shane McGuigan straight away. Now, Shane McGuigan is widely regarded as the best coach in the UK. And for very good reason. He's a tremendous trainer. Very, very good trainer, very good boxing mind. Knows Daniel Dubois, trained Daniel Dubois. And his advice was, that's very dangerous. And you got to bear in mind, that was going from the 4th round to the 5th round. The 4th round, AJ did take some punishment. He was down sort of twice, but you could argue, and you're probably right too, that they were more slips than anything else. When you look back, yeah, you could see they probably were slips. So he wasn't necessarily, he wasn't good, don't get me wrong. He was still hurt, but it wasn't, but he took more of a beating from round 3 to 4, right? Now, the advice, Shane McGuigan, the advice he was given was keep your hands up, which of course Joshua was not doing. I mean, it's only when you really watch it closely you're like, holy crap, how he didn't get knocked out earlier with the defense and the hands down like that is beyond me. But McGuigan is saying keep your hands up, which he wasn't doing, and try and survive these next 2 rounds. You're miles behind, so don't worry, you're probably not going to win these rounds, but you're miles behind. Use your athleticism. As the fight goes a little bit longer down the stretch, you should get, if as long as you stay out of trouble, your feet should go back, your legs should come back, and see, you might have a fatigued Daniel Dubois, the snap might be gone from some of his shots, in which case you might be able to, put your foot on the gas, bit like Klitschko, and try and force something to either get yourself back into it, or, maybe pull a win out. He's saying that's dangerous advice, and it was. You know, Daniel Dubois, he is open for the uppercut. And the one time in that fight, AJ nearly came close with the uppercut was a counter uppercut that he did in the first round and he missed, right? Daniel Dubois was able to block it and see it. But, like, I'm just... Ben Davison is a trainer who I rate very, very highly. It almost seems to me like Ben... See, here's the thing about Ben Davison, right? I think he's a good trainer. I know we get... And here's the thing about Ben Davison. People will say 1 minute he's a great trainer and then they'll say he's a crap trainer. They'll see him look after, like, train Joshua for Otto Wallin and then they'll say Joshua beats Usyk. Joshua gets ironed out by Daniel Dubois. Oh, Ben Davison is terrible. There's no in between. He's either great or terrible. My way of looking at Ben Davison always has been, he is a very, very good trainer, but he overthinks things. Now, some would say with Anthony Joshua that's a good thing because Joshua overthinks things, so having Ben Davison do that for him, it makes it a little bit easier. Well, yes and no. Ben Davison has a fighter who's hurt. It's as simple as that. And sometimes when you have a fighter hurt, in Anthony Joshua's case, you need to know your fighter. You need to know that this guy, right, he needs to just survive. He's in survival mode. So let's see what we can do. As Shane McGuigan's advice was so simple. Hands up, get through these next 2 rounds, see what you can do. And that really is the best advice you could have given to Anthony Joshua in that scenario. Ben Davison is saying, double up on the jab and throw the uppercut. Mate, his chin is way up in the air. Alright? Daniel Dubois is throwing that straight right hand every single chance he gets. He's not able to miss because not only is Anthony Joshua, and you're saying double up the jab, are you saying bring the jab back to your head? Because he's doubling up that jab and he's bringing it back down to his flipping chest and his chin is just there saying, boom, hit me. And if you throw an uppercut, right, if you throw an uppercut like that and you miss, if Daniel Dubois even just had to move to one side, even if he punched out around it because some of his shots are wide, you've an open target. He literally may as well have said, go out in this round and get knocked out. Because that's basically what he did. I couldn't believe it when I was listening to it. When I listened to it back, I actually thought it was Barry McGuigan they were talking about. Like Barry McGuigan picked Dubois or something like that. And then I click into it and I was like, I'm sorry, what? What was he saying? That, I think, is a flaw with Ben Davison. He's always like, do you see him when Lee Wood got dropped in the first round by Michael Conlon? Lee Wood is out of it. Lee Wood was absolutely out of it in that first round. And here's Ben Davison with all this technical stuff and you need to do. You're like, mate, he's out of it. Just survive. Grab hold, hands on your head, hands up high. Right? Grab hold every chance you get and see what you can do. Get through this round, get your legs back underneath you. Simple as that. It's almost like with Ben Davison, as I said earlier, he overthinks things in the ring, as in with his fighters. He's overanalyzing, he's overthinking, and it's almost like when his fighter comes back and sits down, he needs to try and, you know, break down everything and say, well, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, if you double this up, if you throw this, if you do this in a certain way, you're like, mate, he's out of it. Just hands up, try and get through these next 2 rounds, and then see what happens. He might fatigue, you might come back on, and let's see what happens. But with Ben Davison, it just seems like he cannot give that simple instructions. And that's, again, Ben Davison is not a bad trainer. Look at the work he's done with Lee Wood. You know, Lee Wood was losing to guys like Jazza Dickens at domestic level 5 years ago. And now he's not a world champion now, but a 2-time world champion, one of the UK's best fighters, certainly when he was active. He's been inactive over the last year, but you get what I'm saying. You get with Lee Wood, he's done a great job with him, so he is a good trainer. Don't underestimate Ben Davison. He's a very good trainer, but he definitely didn't cover himself in glory between round 4 to 5. That was something else. Double jab, bring the uppercut up. 1, when your fighter is bringing his jab down low. 2, when his hands are down low, and 3, when you've got a guy throwing a big straight right hand. And your fighter is out of it. Like Joshua was really fighting on instinct. You know, he was knocked down in the first round. Very bad technical flaw by Anthony Joshua. Dropping his hands, moving back in straight lines, very upright, walks onto a right hand, and never really recovered from it. And all the while, and he's done this before, as I said with Lee Wood. All the while, you're trying to be technical and say this, that, and the other. You know, he has given. I remember with Tyson Fury when he fought Wilder the first time. he was saying move to his right. You're like, mate, move into his right hand. You want him to move into his right hand? Okay, let's see how that goes. Ben Davison, sometimes I just think it's this over analysing the things. And sometimes you need to just break it down. I always say that if you ever hear like really, really good chefs and they talk about making a dish, they talk about, here is the dish we have, right? And we keep it simple. We make it the way it was meant to be made, and we focus on the strengths. As soon as we start adding to it and adding to it and adding to it and adding to it, we end up taking away. And I think sometimes that's what Ben Davison does. He ends up adding and adding and adding and adding, and you're like, mate, sometimes the simplest answer, the simplest ingredient is the best. You got a fighter there who's done. He's fighting on instinct and heart. Hands up, chin down, see what you can do. If an opportunity comes to counter, happy days. But get through these next few rounds. Survive. Nope. Go out there, get yourself knocked out. And that's exactly what happened. Like I said at the start of this video, I don't believe for a second that Ben Davison is in there as a double agent or anything like that. No, I don't believe that. But Jesus Christ, that was such bad advice that if someone said it to me, I'd say, well, based off of that, I don't believe it, but you might have a little bit of a foundation to stand on. A little bit. I could not believe what I was hearing. Mental. Let me know your thoughts on the advice Ben Davison gave to Anthony Joshua in the comments. I'll leave it there. I hope you enjoyed the video. Peace.